All right, so that's how it ended. Medeama Sporting Club tasting defeat. They lost to Al Ali by 3-0. In the first half, I mean, it was goalless, and I was thinking that Medeama would bring a point at least home. But the second half was a different story. Some say it was a lapse in concentration. Others say Al Ali just wanted to see what Medeama do have up their sleeves. But the guys are here. Edwin, I mean, I was thinking that it was going to be a very... So Al Ali taking Medeama to the cleaners, but 3-0 against Medeama, I mean, I think it's a good start for them. How would you want to put it?
Well, I wouldn't exactly describe it as a good start. I feel that first half, they showed a lot of quality. They showed a lot of intent. They basically matched Al Ali boot for boot in the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes of the first half. And it was looking good for Medeama. It was looking good for Ghana.
Yeah.
That we have a team that can match up to one of the North African teams, Al Ahly, who have won the tournaments for quite a while. But you could tell in the second half that the exertions in the first half affected them after the break. They were tired. The players couldn't track runners anymore. The players couldn't win 50-50 balls. They weren't challenging for every single tackle like they did in the first half. And because of that, Al Ahly took control of the game. They were passing around a lot more freely, a lot more fluidly, attacking really quickly, as we saw there, one counter-attack where Medeama's defenders were unable to keep up with them. They had to take a last-ditch tackle for a goal not to be scored. When you go to such venues, the last thing you need to do is make silly mistakes. And I feel that for at least the first two goals, Medeama made some poor errors that really cost them. The first one, a set piece. You've dealt with the first ball, headed it out of the box. I think the defenders were too focused on dealing with the player who was about to take the shot or the cross, and forgot that there were other players in the box that they had to mark. So they left one player basically unmarked. There were 4 players who were running towards the player who crossed the ball. They left the goal scorer unmarked in the box, and he had a free header into the back of the net. The second one, we saw an obvious error from the defender, tried to play out from the back, mistakenly handed it over to the opponent, and it was up in the back of the net after a few seconds. You've got to look at the Medeama performance and say that you are encouraged by how they started the game, but how they finished it would probably be a worry for Evans Adote. He's looking at his team and wondering whether they can match up to the rest of the continent in terms of intensity for 90 minutes. And honestly, I didn't see that here. But hopefully it turns up in the rest of the games. I'd like to credit the goalkeeper for Medeama, Felix Che. He had a superb performance, made some wonderful saves in the first half and also in the second half. Unfortunately, he couldn't keep out of the ball. I think that if you look at it, you might be worried that it was 3-0, a bad result, a heavy defeat in your first game in the competition. But it was their first game in the competition. They, against possibly the toughest side they could face in the competition. You were going to expect some nerves, especially in that second half when Al Ahly came at them quite a bit. But when teams go into such competitions, they pen games down in which they can afford to lose. I feel that this is one game that Medeama would have penned down and said that 3 points, we didn't get it, but we are not going to lose sleep over this. We are just going to move on, take lessons from this. When they come to Ghana and we play them at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, we make note of these lessons, we learn from them, and then we attack them, we correct them, and then possibly get a win. I feel that looking at how they performed in that first half, they showed enough quality that we should expect them to win all 3 home games, even against Al Ahly. I don't think Al Ahly played very well. They showed that they can be beaten, especially in that first half. If Medeama are taking a few of those opportunities, we might be talking about a very different game. But it was a good performance, not the best results, not the best end to the such a good performance, but I'm encouraged by what I've seen. Going forward, I think they're possibly going to get a few wins on the board. And who knows, the quarterfinals might just be in sight for them.
Wow, that's a big call from Edwin to see Medeama Sporting Club get to the quarterfinals. But Sadi, if I put you in the shoes of Evans Ogesin-Adote, who is the head coach, and you look at this result against Al Ahly, I mean, obviously one of the big guns in African football, like Edwin rightly mentioned, defending champions are coming up against them. Because to be honest, I was thinking that they were going to be beaten, especially see a very big scoreline, 6-0 or something of that sort. But 3-0 is a respectable. What are some of the things that you would look to correct heading into that big game against them? Because their next clash is against Seattle Belouizdad on Friday, December 1st at the Barbara Sports Stadium.
Yeah. Listen, it's really important that as a coach, you know that there are phases to a game. There's the opening phase of a game where teams come out gun blazing, trying to get a goal, trying to destabilize whatever you just told the lads before stepping out onto the pitch.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of first 20 minutes. When you weather that storm, then the game enters another phase. For me, if I were to be the coach of Medeama, it's really simple. The in-game management needs to be spot on. It looks like the first half, the in-game management was great. That is how come they were able to get the result, 0-0, half-time. Now, you go into the second half. In the second half, against a big opponent like Al Ahly, you know that you need to weather the storm, push the game 0-0 as far as you can, so that in the latter stages, you throw the kitchen sink and everything at them to try and get that one goal, snatch and grab and leave. If I were him, I don't think I'll start making changes in the 60th minute if all the boys are fit.
Okay.
If they are all fit.
So you are saying that the changes he did played a part in.
Because let's look at the timing of the changes and the coming of the goals. Data or the timing basically shows us that the second change came in at the 61st minute. And then in the same 60-something minutes, there's a first goal. And from there, then the boys dropped their head.
Yeah.
Which is very, very bad. So tactically, I think he tried to tweak something which did not work.
But that did not work for him.
Tried to tweak something which did not work. Bringing it home to the next game. For me, I would look at it as a do-or-die affair. We are winning it at every possible cost. Seriously, because...
Against Seattle Belouizdad?
It's going to be a very difficult game,
Yeah.
but you've got to find a way to win. If you don't win your second game at home, then I'm sorry, what are you going to do in the competition? Are you going to be able to beat Al Ahly at home? Is there a possibility for you? Looking at your first half performance, that should be the stepping stone. You should go on to bigger things. And I also think that the quality of opposition that's in the GPL for them to play has accounted for this particular loss.
Okay.
Because if you are playing quality opposition, it helps you, the technical person, to be more adept and then change in-game situations to suit your team. But if you play teams that are subpar and are not able to deliver and live up to expectation and raise the quality that is needed on the African continent, when you meet the likes of Al Ahly, you might put a good show in the first half and then go to sleep in the second half and be walloped.
Guys, so let's quickly talk about Dreams FC. They also played a North African opponent, this time around Club African. Dreams conceded, I think, by minute 19. It was just done. And they had a record, 59th minute, Abdou Jalilu was sent off, but they managed to hold Club African to just that 2-0 scoreline they put in the first half. So by minute 5, they conceded the first goal. Minute 19, they conceded the second for them. I mean, Edwin, quick one on that.
Look, it was a poor start from Dreams, no doubt about it. Conceding 2 goals in the opening 20 minutes, it's unacceptable, especially on the African continent. When you're playing at the highest level, you expect teams to come at you, especially when you're playing away from home. So when you let them in so easily, you have to look at yourself and tell yourself that this can't happen again. What I'm impressed by was the fact that they didn't let their heads drop after that.
Okay.
They didn't concede further. They tightened things up at the back. They tightened up even more after they got that red card in the second half. And they played a low block, restricted Club Africain to long shots from outside the box. They didn't allow them to just pass their way into the box as they did for the first couple of goals. I feel that going forward, they'll look at this performance and say, we played really well in the second half. Can we translate it into the first half for the 90 minutes?
Okay.
Or even can we get a good 75 minutes from our players? And I feel they can. Okay. And probably when they play in Ghana, they'll have the fans behind them. They'll have home advantage. So maybe they'll perform better. They'll start the game better. And the good starts are very important in such games. Just like Medeama, I feel that this is a game against a really top team away from home in Tunisia that they would have said, okay, maybe if we get a draw from this, it's a good result. If we lose, we are not going to think too much about it. We'll wait for them, bring them home, where we can assure that we have the quality to beat them. I think in their next game is a must-win.
Yeah.
Once you lose 2 games in a row, things start looking very, very difficult. It becomes a huge mountain you have to surmount. And I feel that Dreams will go into their next game knowing that a win is necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of Dreams, their next game, they play Rivers United from Nigeria on December 3, 2023. So we'll be keeping tabs on that. For Medeama Sporting Club, this time around, they welcome Algerian champion Sierra Belouizdad to the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. And that should be big for Medeama. That's on December 1. Let's see how they fare. I mean, you should get to the stadium and go and support them because it's of a big interest to the nation. So just head there and go support. But